Hi, and welcome to Bring Your Brand to Life in the Physical World. Your brand is about every touch point where your business meets the world. So, in this presentation, I'm going to show you examples of how to bring your brand to life into the physical world with great impact and consistency. My name is Mel Pedersen. I run Studio de Mel. I've been doing that for the last 15 years. I design visual identity design systems and environmental design. I'm half Danish, half Sri Lankan. I live in the US because I saw Coming to America when I was 7 years old and really got so fascinated about New York City that I had to experience it for myself. So now I've been living in the US for 14 years, but I grew up in Denmark. I love to sketch. I love to doodle brand identity, logo sketches. I love to take photos of trash. This is an example of an ice cream packaging with some compelling branding, emotion attached to it, which I will dive more into. I love to design visual identity systems for nonprofits. This was for a fundraiser for a New York-based nonprofit. I also design a lot of environmental design systems for events such as Montclair Pride. And also, I've been doing a lot of environmental design. I will get more into what that is. This is an example from a children's hospital in Denmark. And then, since I am from Denmark and Scandinavia, I love to eat salty licorice, which is something I know not too many Americans appreciate. So, this is a little bit about me. So, today's presentation will take around 45 minutes. And I will first talk about what is a visual identity system. What is that? Then I will touch on what is important when you consider producing packaging for your products, if you have products that needs to have packaging. Then I will talk a little bit about why I think print is coming back and why print, I believe, will have a big renaissance in the coming 5 to 6 years. Then I will talk about what is environmental branding, what is environmental design. And the last topic I will talk about is why I think it's important to have some swag and merchandise for your audience and your clients, and have some thoughts about what type of swag I think it's important to have. Analog is coming back. I believe the next 5 to 8 years we will see a big renaissance in all things analog. And I think it has partly to do with AI. Soon, in a few years, we won't be able to trust anything we see on a screen. Every video is going to look real. We're not going to know what is actually reality. So that's why I think AI will push all of us to attend more live events, to go to more experiences, to want to have things that have tactility and texture again. So one area where I see that is the rise of vinyl sales. For example, in the US in 2025, the sales exploded. Now we also see Kodak are producing film again. Now you can actually take photos with a film camera. I see more board games, playing cards, again, live events, concerts. We just had the World Cup in the US, and even though people can watch it on their laptops and their mobile phones, I saw thousands of people flock to fan zones because people want to experiment it with real people in the real world. So, yeah, again, just to touch on the vinyl sales again, in 2025, the vinyl sale in the US surpassed $1 billion. That's the first time that has happened since 1983. Again, we see that with concerts, Taylor Swift concerts, a lot of vinyl records are being found in stores all over the world, and especially in the US. Since I'm from Denmark, I saw a piece of news here from Denmark. Even CDs are coming back after so many years where I thought I would never have to use a CD again. Now people are starting to buy CDs again. And it just says something about that people will crave tactility, being able to touch something, being able to put a record on, and again, attend a real in-person event where you have a real print piece or a real book or a postcard. I think all of that will come back again with a big vengeance. So I have a question for you. I would like for you to ponder on. I would like you to think about a piece of swag that you actually love. What kind of product, what kind of swag do you have in your house that you have kept for some reason? Maybe you got it at an event or at a trade show. Why do you love it, and why have you hold on to it? So, number one, what is a visual identity system? What is that? So I'm going to touch on that and give you some example to explain what a visual identity system is and why I think you should consider if you have a system. Because I think for me, cohesion is very, very important. It needs to be cohesive with your brand. Every touch point needs to be telling the same story. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this segment. So this is a case study I'm going to walk through. This is King of Clubs Coffee in Williamsburg, Virginia, in the US. So this is a coffee brand that got inspired from the Art Deco era, the Prohibition era, 1920s, 1930s. The client wanted like kind of like a gangster look to it. It should be black, white, gold. It should look exclusive. It should look high end. Again, with a reference to the Art Deco period. So some references to that. So this is kind of like the look and feel that we developed over several years. And I'm going to talk through each of these elements in this segment. So the name is King of Clubs Coffee, based in Williamsburg, Virginia. So when you have a brand, when you have a company, it's all about the customer experience. You have no company, you have no brand if you don't have any clients or any customers. So it's the main focus should be, what does your customer experience? What is your brand about in terms of emotion and feelings? And how can you tie storytelling around those values? And how can you ensure that your customer is feeling those emotions that you want them to feel? It's not really about you. It's about, what does your brand make your customers feel? So, for example, if you have a physical store, this is the King of Clubs coffee store in Williamsburg, Virginia. So this is what you come in when you see as a customer. You notice the materials, you notice the texture of the furniture, you notice the lighting, you pick up on the music. What kind of scent is it? Maybe you don't pick up on all these things consciously, but you definitely will pick up on it in other ways, maybe in a subconscious way. Like, what does this space make you feel? Again, what kind of emotions, what kind of values does your brand evoke when you walk into a physical store? In this King of Clubs coffee store, we wanted the coffee equipment for the nitro brew and the kombucha and the cold brew to have this high end feeling with references to Art Deco period, to the playing cards, to the high end quality that King of Clubs want to deliver. So we had these custom made cast iron equipment pieces made with matte black surface and then a shiny gold top to speak to that high end feel we want. So it's heavy, it's solid, and with a hint to the Art Deco era. If you sell any kind of products where you will need a menu, consider using materials and colors and fonts that are in alignment with your brand. So it all should be cohesive to the story you're trying to tell. So is it aligned with the style, the shapes you're using? Are those aligned with kind of what your brand stands for? What about the colors, the layouts? What kind of typeface are you using? What style of photography are you using? Again, it should all be cohesive. So if you get away from this presentation with one word, I want that to be cohesion. Your brand should be cohesive across all touch point where your customer interact with your brand. I'm not sure if your brand serves any kind of food or drinks, but King of Clubs, of course, serves drinks. So we wanted to find a way to brand those drinks, and we found this way to produce a customized cacao coffee stencil. So you could add a little bit of a touch of your brand to your drinks in a fun way, and it doesn't need to cost a lot. Like, that stencil was not more than maybe $10. So how can you brand your products, your foods, your drinks? Add a little bit extra. Do you sell any kind of food in your store? Maybe there's a way to add a little bit of a brand element to that. So King of Flops Coffee are serving pastries. So we found a way to produce these golden pieces of chocolate, like a golden crown made of chocolate. I would love to actually have a real plate here, but like how can you add a little bit of a touch of your brand? So here we have black napkins and then a coaster with the brand on for the drink. So how can you add a little bit of your brand into what you serve? So again, it's all about delivering that cohesive experience and also inspire for people to take a photo and post it on social media, on Instagram or their stories. Is there a way for you to have a branded uniform? Do you have staff? Do you have any people that will attend your booth on your behalf at the trade show? So consider making some kind of t-shirt. It could be a hat. It could be a custom-made name tag. Just a little touch that refers back to your brand. So it could even be a pin or like a button that you have on your staff's shirts. What can you add that speaks to your story and your brand? Is there a way that you could produce merchandise that people actually would love? So you can also inspire customer loyalty. Here, you could buy a King of Flop coffee mug, and then if you brought it in to get a drink, you would save 10 or 25 cents. So also inspire them to reuse and not use one-time use plastic cups. Here are some considerations when you want to produce packaging for your products. For King of Clubs, we wanted to produce these high-end coffee bags. We wanted them to be matte metal and then this shiny gold metal accent printed on it. We wanted this black and white contrast, so also matte black and then shiny gold accents. Then we realized that the printer we were working with had a minimum quantity of 10,000 pieces. So we realized that we needed to be creative in order to have our different coffee flavors. Then we realized that it wasn't feasible to produce specific bags for each flavor, but it would be more cost effective to actually produce a sticker for the bag. So we just have to produce one coffee bag because we needed to meet that requirement of 10,000 print as a minimum of the order. And then we realized that there was better to produce stickers to show the different flavors. So when you do that, or when you do packaging, think about how you can meet the order minimum, and then if there's a creative ways that you could apply to that if you have more than one flavors, for example. So this is where we ended up with. This is you can see the matte bag, and then we apply the sticker for each flavor here. And that has been working well for a long time. This is showing how we then are applying this brand system to a different type of packaging. So this is for the K cups. So this is a cardboard cutout print, and also we needed to meet the minimum for that. But you could see how we're using the same elements: the matte black, the shiny gold, and the black and white contrast. So again, make sure that your packaging is cohesive around all of the different types of packaging you have. Think about the colors, the typefaces, the texture. Think about the minimum print quantity. Do you want it matte, shiny? What kind of storytelling can you include on your packaging? So here we were talking a little bit about where the coffee is coming from and the story about King of Clubs. Maybe you want to add a call to action like visit our social media website, bring this in for 10% off. Think about how you can use all the real estate under this packaging to your brand's advantage. This is some of the packaging we ended up producing. So you could see this is a printed bag, this is cardboard boxes, and this is a glass bottle with a sticker applied to it. So consider how does all of these things look when it's printed. Can you print all of this in 4-color print systems, or do you need to have expensive Pantone color? Can you take advantage of metallic effects? Does your printer even offer that? So consider, should it be CMYK color? Should it be Pantone? Should it be metallic inks? Yeah, and how does it translate to different materials? So how does this black print on a sticker versus a matte back? So the goal is to have everything look cohesive on all of the different types of packaging that you have. This is the cold brew, small glass bottles with stickers applied to it. Think about how it translates to different types of packaging. It's another area that is really important to consider if you do have products that you have in stores is how does your brand compare on the shelf? This is really the marketplace where your product will have to compete face to face with your competitors. How does it stack up to those competitors right around where your space is on the shelf? Think about the products next to it. Is it the same product? Is it the same category? Is it what kind of colors do they have? What kind of fonts? What kind of materials? Is it glass? Is it the same cardboard material? How does your brand compete on the shelf? Because it's pretty unique to have so many SKUs here, so many products. But if you don't deliver, if you don't sell product, within a few weeks you will be losing your spot, and you will get less and less SKUs on the shelf. So it's important that your product delivers on the shelf. A lot of companies spend a lot of money producing a planogram for the shelf, so they know exactly what kind of variations, what kind of flavors, what kind of price points they will have on the shelf. So this is important to consider: color, material, typefaces, and how does it compare. Also, how does your product look, for example, on a table of a trade show? How does it look in real life or at a community fair table? Will you have a tablecloth? How's the lighting? Where will the customer flow be coming from? From the left, from the right? Could you take advantage of having some business cards or flyers or call to action, a postcard, something that people can take away and remember your business when they have left that event? Also, if you have a chance to go outside, how does your brand look outside at a community fair, at a farmer's market? Can you have a tent? Can you have banners? Consider the wind, consider where the sun will be coming from. Do you have chocolate that should not melt? Like, what do you do about that? How can you get people to spend just a few more minutes at your stand? When people walk through a farmer's market, they have about 2 seconds to decide if they want to go into a stand. So how can you make sure that the customers will come into your stand? What about the equipment? Is there any opportunity for you to make it memorable and unique to your brand, so it speaks to your audience and carry your storytelling? Can you brand your fridge? Can you brand the equipment where you serve drinks from? What are your opportunities to make it ownable and unique to your brand? How does it show up at a local pride festival, at a trade show, at a networking event? What does people see from a distance? Can you have a tablecloth? What color should that be? Can you have signs? Should those be hand-drawn or should they be banners? What about wind again? How will that look from afar? Is it cohesive with your overall brand? Is it telling the same story? Are you talking about the same values that you want your customers to feel, that emotion that your customers should feel when they see and interact with your brand? And also in this day and age, it's all about sharing on social media. It's important to have something that people want to share. So inspire people to share it, compel them to rave about the great experience they've had at your place. Maybe you can create some kind of Instagram prop. Here we create this Instagram frame and a call to action. Tag us on your post for a free drink or something. This was kind of fun, and people had fun doing that. And it's a way to kind of bring the social media world into a physical world, to have a fun physical prop that you can use. Every business is about humans. Humans bring in the money. Is all about selling to humans, and humans want to feel connected to other humans, and we want to feel something, want to have some kind of emotion. So how does your brand make them feel? How can you inspire to interactions with other people? Inspire community events. How can you organize networking events, some social activities, inspire people to connect and to share and to refer your business? because businesses, we want to have raving fans that keep raving about how good your service is and your product is. So how do you inspire your customers to come back to your business? Cohesion, I said again, I will say it many more times in this presentation, I'm sure. So it's all about having cohesive brand. It should look, feel the same across all touchpoints. So whether it's on your website, on your app, on a postcard, in your store, with the swag you give out, it should feel like it comes from the same brand. This is a fragrance store in Patterson, New Jersey, where I worked with them on creating a visual identity system. We worked on a redesigned logo, on a redefined color palette. We design customized patterns, icons, and this is the overall summary of this brand. Dunyo Alud in Patterson, New Jersey. If you have a physical brick and mortar space, consider the light, the sounds, the texture, the scents, music. Is it hot? Is it cold? What does your customer feel and sense when walking through the door? It's a lot more than just graphics and images and words. It's about materials, it's about texture, it's about the smells. So this is how this store looks like in Patterson, New Jersey. How does your brand translate if you give out some treats at the local fair? How does your backdrop look like? Your tablecloths, can you brand that in any way? Maybe you have a small little sample that you give out. How will that look when you hand it out to your customers? So consider all these things. How does your brand show up in a trade show, a local community fair, maybe at a school event where you will be a sponsor and hosting a sponsor table? Another word that is also very important for me is alignment. Your brand should be in alignment with what you want your customers to perceive and to feel. This is a high-end antique store in Manhattan. This is the website. I think it looks cohesive, it looks high-end, it looks expensive, it looks exclusive. This is the logo. It looks historic, it looks like it has a lot of character. It looks like some references to old times, to Art Deco. It looks high-end. The Facebook, it also looks high-end. It looks exclusive. It looks historic. It looks like it has some high-end antiques you can buy. Where it doesn't really flow anymore is when I see the awning in front of the store. This is a different font compared to the logo. Then I go in through the door and I see another font. Maybe that's a requirement from the landlord to have the same font. Probably is. But then where it really stops for me, I don't feel that this is aligned with the high level of this store. Then you see Comic Sans, Art and Antique Center open to the public. Come on in. Maybe you don't notice it because you don't notice the font, but subconsciously, I will say that I think most people will notice that there's a mismatch. Maybe they're not able to put a finger on what it is, but Comic Sans is a great font for comics, but not for high-end, exclusive antique center in New York City. Those small things, when you put up a temporary sign, make sure that it is aligned with the value that you want to show that your brand has. I would not use Comic Sans for a business card if I'm a high-end attorney. I would not do that. This is a local store in Montclair, New Jersey. It's a great restaurant. The main course starts around $65. So something also doesn't jive with me when I see plastic flowers outside of the restaurant. Plastic flowers and a $65 main course price tag, it just doesn't fit in my mind. You may think otherwise, but that's something I would make sure to have it be aligned with the value you want people to perceive about your brand. If I go into a high-end bakery and I buy a $15 cake, I don't think it adds to my experience to eat from plastic and paper plates. Then I would have loved to see a nice porcelain plate with maybe some branding on. These examples are not in alignment with the type of business and the type of value that I think those businesses should communicate. Is your brand touch points in alignment with what you want to communicate in terms of value and quality? What about your packaging? Your packaging, again, also, it's all about emotions. It's about what kind of emotion do you want your customers to feel? There's a lot of competition out there, so convey some kind of emotion. There's a lot of similar ice cream stores out there that serve ice cream in a packaging cup. So have your brand stand out by being different and inspire some kind of emotion or some kind of feeling. This says never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. This is from the song from the 80s. When I see that, I think it's kind of funny. It reminds me of that song and I can't stop smiling a little bit. So that's good. I think when you sell ice cream is nice and it's funny and it's happy. So how can you have your brand be memorable and stand out so people remember you and remember that feeling? Tell a story with an emotion. So how can you tell your brand story with some kind of feeling or storytelling to drive home this point that people really buy feelings? So this is a Swedish oat drink from the 90s, one of the first oat drinks out there on the market in the 90s. In my opinion, it looks how you would expect it to look. It looks like the audience is people that are lactose intolerant, people that for some reason cannot eat dairy, people that are allergic to dairy, people that maybe just want a dairy-free drink. I think it looks like what it is. But then they decided to completely transform this brand and infuse a lot more character, emotion, storytelling into this. Completely new logo, completely new color scheme. You have this hand cut out logo. You have this gritty, handmade visual language. And wow, no cow. Like that has attitude, that has storytelling. It's pretty edgy. It's funny. It's bold. It's unserious. It's characteristic. It's gritty. Hand cut shapes. It had texture. You could feel the texture almost by looking at it. The colors are compelling. It has a strong tone of voice. So after this rebrand, this company's market cap peaked at over $12 billion after its IPO in 2021. So you could see the difference from this only to this. Like that is a $12 million difference. Another example here, so this is water bottles. All of these are, this is how water bottles look. Like this is blue and a lot of plastic. And then this company entered the world and said, we're going to do things differently. We're going to put it in a can and have a completely different look and feel. Liquid death. So some examples here. So this is how the can also looks like. They have this slogan called murder you first, kill you first, like copywriting with a very identified tone of voice. It's very unique. It's a metal bottle. It's an aluminum can. It's very different. It almost has a cult following now. So don't be scared. It's just water. Death to plastic. They talk about how they're not using plastic. They're using a can that you can actually recycle. This is the numbers. They launched in 2019, made a completely different packaging, different materials, different tone of voice, different look and feel with a very strong tone of voice. And this is, they reached a unicorn status, 1.4 billion evaluation in 2024. Know your audience, know who you're talking to. This is an injury law firm in Florida. They needed to rebrand since the owner passed away after 35 years of running the company as a lawyer. They needed to implement a generational change in leadership, and they wanted to retain all of the loyal customers over those 35 years, but also appeal to a younger crowd. This is a younger attorney taking over, part of the family, so a rebrand was needed. This is where they came from when I started working with them, and this is where we ended up BBL. We wanted to make it more modern, and also they needed to speak to a different audience. So this is BBL, Beta Partner Law. They got a new partner, so that's why we needed to add another name into the name. And then we wanted to have it be more modern and BBL. BBL can also mean something else. In Florida specifically, Brazilian butt lifts, and that's kind of a fun thing to combine with a law firm. But the two young founders, they love to go to the gym. They love to wear swag into the gym, and people come up to them and ask, where can I get that? And is that a real law firm? And then they start a conversation, and now they sell these hats all over the US. How can you make your brand memorable? How can you do something different with your brand assets that make people stop up and wonder and ask questions, and most of all, remember you? Know your audience. So this law firm in Florida, they speak Creole and Spanish. So they decided to have branded benches outside of the office. So they speak exactly Creole and Spanish. Can you speak directly to your customers? Do you offer something that not a lot of people do? So then touch on that and speak to that. Do you have something unique? Do you have a unique color that only you use? Do you have something unique? Then own it. So this is very important to be memorable. this company in New York City. I love this company. It's called Piece of Cake Moving. I see it all the time when I go to Manhattan. It's pink, it's purple, and it has this snap, Piece of Cake Moving. It's iconic, it's compelling, it's fun, it's memorable. It's all the things that you don't think that moving should be. It shouldn't be. Moving is normally is very hard, it's tough, it takes forever, it's warm, it's heavy. This is conveying all of the opposite things. It's fun, it's easy, it's convenience, there's no stress. So this is some of the customers. They post these photos by themselves because they just love this brand and how easy it is and how fun it looks like. This is their social media grid. It's all pink and purple. And a lot of these customers post these photos and tag Piece of Cake Moving in their posts. How can you do something similar? What color can you own? What emotion can you communicate so your customers want to post this by themselves? If you have something memorable, own it and focus on that. This is another example from New York City. This ice cream company that did a great job owning these very colorful pieces of packaging, and you can almost feel the rainbow. You could feel the rainbow of different flavors. This is how it shows up on the trucks and on social media. Very cohesive with the brand, different colors, different flavors. It looks fun, it looks compelling. It looks like exactly what ice cream should be like. I believe print is back. Print is back in a big way, and I think there will be a big renaissance of all things print. A big reason is AI. Everything is now on the screen, and everything can soon be done with video. So people want to feel something in the real world. So this is where paper really has a big advantage. I believe that business cards are coming back as well. I see at every event I go to, people now have business cards again. After 10 years where people just had a QR code app on their phone, now people hand out business cards. What can you do that's special? Can you do it in a specific shape, in a round shape, something that's unique to your brand? A business card with seeds in. So imagine you could say, grow your brand with me. Then you can actually plant your business cards. When you give out your business card, people can plant your business card and actually grow your brand. Maybe you design furniture. Maybe you help people with finding wood material for their houses, for their floors, for their ceiling. You can actually do a thin card made in a thin slice of wood. You consider having QR code on your card so people can just snap a photo and go to your website, or maybe sign up for a Zoom call with you. All these different ways you could infuse colors. Here you could have a thin sliver of color into your business card so that speaks to your brand. Or maybe you consider having matte effects or shiny effects, debossed, embossed features. So think about how can you use print? Can you do postcard that you ship to a database of customers in your area? What about a lawn sign? Like that's a cheap way to do signs in the US, for example. How can you inspire customer loyalty? If you have a coffee place or a bakery, how can you inspire people to come back again and again? Maybe consider producing a really nice loyalty card. What about stickers? I see stickers all over as well. Maybe you can have different stickers focusing on different slogans or different taglines or just fun things where people can remember you. Consider printing menus again. For a long time, we all saw menus only on phones with the QR codes, but I feel also people want to see something printed again. We had so much with all those QR code menus for so many years that people, I think, will start craving seeing some real print again. You consider doing a book. This is one of my clients that did a book with ghost stories and printed it online. Maybe you could do a workbook. Maybe you could do some kind of 10 tips to this and then have it be a lead magnet that you give away for free in return for getting their email addresses. Or maybe you have some kind of experience that you want to share with your customers. I think it's really important to make it personal. Show that you care about your customers. This is when I signed up for a running coach a few years ago. I couldn't run because I had knee pain, and I signed up with this running coach. And after 2 days, he sent me a handwritten card from all the coaches encouraging me to get started, and really it was such a nice touch. I was so happy to receive a real card with a hand-drawn note on it. So I keep talking about this because this maybe cost $2 and it took maybe 10 minutes to do, but it really made an impact. So how can you show your customers that you care and that you really value your customers' business? Hit the road, Jack. Do you have a vehicle? Do you have opportunities to brand it in different ways. This is a plumber. This is pretty fun, and it's hard not to remember this. The next time I need a plumber, I may think about this brand because he made it fun. Talk about the problem that you solve. How can you help relieve your customers? What do you do that they value? This is another example from New York City, a plumbing company. I just love the simplicity of this. It stops the leakage from pipes. That's it. You consider putting a QR code on your vehicle. I'm sure people scan those all the time. But also, to be cost effective, consider just producing a magnet you put on your car door with your brand. Consider doing a full vinyl application if that makes sense for your business, and then make it fun, make it memorable, make it compelling. Again, make your customers feel something. When your drain is flowing, you feel happy, and smiley drain. That works. That's cohesive and it's fun. Back to know your audience. Does your audience speak Spanish? Do they take the bus from a certain area of town? Then speak to your clients in their language and speak to them where they are. If they don't take the bus, but take the train or maybe drive, then consider doing a billboard. But if they do, if you think that they do take the bus and they speak Spanish, show up where your customers are. Environmental branding. What is environmental branding? I'm so glad you asked about that. So environmental branding is about design in an environment. So is it an office? Is it outside of a store? Is it inside of a store? Or is it as in a hospital, such as this example in Denmark, Children's Hospital in Denmark? So this is how it looked before. I worked on the wayfinding and environmental design in this children's hospital in Denmark. They had a lot of different messaging, a lot of random signs put up all over. People didn't know where to go. The parents were stressed, the staff was stressed, and the kids were not happy and they were crying and feeling scared. And then we rebranded it and made a complete overhaul of architecture, lighting, rooms, the colors, everything. And then now you're being welcomed by the forest troll called Rumler. This is an example from a Connect Center, call center that MedLife have in Warwick, New Jersey. This is a Connect Center where customers connect with the company. This is a Connect Center with phones on a line. So communicated what this call center is doing, is connecting with people. Do you have an office space where there are some opportunities for branding on the walls? How can you make it fun to show what floor you are on, or where the stairs are, where the print room is? Can you inspire people to interact with the walls? Like, share your goals. Today I will, in 1 year I will, and in 10 years I will. Like, is there a fun way for people to interact with your space? Examples of environmental design. This is wayfinding. Most office buildings, you will need to find the bathrooms, the phone booths, the stairs. How do you do that in a unique and compelling way so you can add your personality to the wayfind? This is back to the Children's Hospital in Denmark. Instead of just having a boring wall with photos and names, this is how all of the doctors and nurses are showing up. So they're showing up as small photos on acorns because the whole hospital's theme around the wayfinding was acorns. This is a dentist in Texas. They have a wall where they talk about this area in a visual way, and so people can connect to the space where they are while they're waiting. Be clear and show it. Do you sell ice cream? Then show an ice cream. When people come by your store, show what you're selling. Make it clear where to pay. You pay here. This is clear. Also, don't forget about copywriting. It's a fun way to talk about your brand. Why are iPhone chargers not called Apple Juice? Joe and the Juice, like this juice place in New York City where we can get you. That's pretty funny. Then we have arrived to swag. What do you want your customers to feel when you give them some swag? What kind of emotion do you want to evoke in your customers? This is one of the swag pieces that I still have. I was part of a row house. I was doing indoor rowing. And then once I had hit 50,000 meters on the row machine, I got this t-shirt. I still have it because I worked for it. It had a lot of emotion invested into all that rowing, and I love that piece of swag. So I still have that. I even posted it on my Instagram, how much I loved that swag that I got from Roha. So here are some examples of swag that I actually love and I still have. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar years back. I still love this hat. It brings me some memories from that event. That was super fun and I connected with a lot of great people. I still have that hat. a stress ball from this company I work for called Potato. I use it often when on meetings, and then I stare on that logo for hours on end. I also went to this event. This organization in my area produces beautiful, high quality tote bag. It has the name on it, but I still use it. It's beautiful and it's good quality. How can you produce some swag that people actually would like to keep and they will love? Some good options from my point of view. A pen is always a good piece of swag. What about a good quality water bottle with your logo on or some kind of copywriting on? A good quality notebook. Again, I emphasize good quality because that also says something about your brand. A good quality coffee mug. Imagine to be able to have your logo in front of your customers every morning. A good quality tote bag. What about a calendar? I remember I went to a school fair where there was a school counselor that gave away magnet school calendars with all of the school closures on. In my area, the schools are closed all the time for all different kind of holidays. And I had it on my fridge for a year, and I looked at that calendar with that logo from that school counselor for a year. So if my kids needed some kind of counselor, I would most likely think about that counselor. How can you show up every day in front of your customers on some kind of swag that they actually would need and love? What about something as old-fashioned as a USB stick? Maybe consider doing that, or do some kind of GPS device so people can find their keys looking at your logo. Or maybe reading and books are really coming back in. So maybe produce a nice bookmark with your logo on. This is a magnet bookmark you can print your logo on. One of the last lessons, if it's not broken, if you have something that works, for example, Tropicana had this super iconic brand visual. It's raw straight into an orange. Like, it doesn't get more pure than that. Orange juice straight from an orange. It can't be more pure and iconic. Then they spend millions of dollars rebranding, so it kind of looked like a generic white label store brand. And after a few weeks, they were forced to go back to the old packaging because people in the stores were confused. They stopped buying Tropicana because they didn't think it was Tropicana. If you have something that works, don't fix it, but keep it and emphasize on it. How can you make sure that your brand comes to life in the physical world? How can you create a 30, 60, 90-day action plan? But I would love to get on the call with you to talk about your challenges, talk about your brand, and learn to understand how we together can make sure that your brand stands out in the physical world with great impact and consistency and show up aligned with what you want your customers to perceive and cohesive with your brand. To end on a reference to Coming to America, how can your brand become cohesive and compelling in the physical world? If you would like to get on a call with me and see if there's ways we can collaborate by bringing your brand to life, you can book a call with me or visit me on these channels. Thank you so much. I hope this presentation gave you some ideas to how you can have a brand that is present in the physical world. Thank you.